Well, good morning, Dimension of Leadership learners, or maybe it's good afternoon, or maybe it's good evening whenever you're having a look at this clip. This is just to provide you with a bit of a commentary over the slides that are posted this week. And as is always the case, the slides are some of the key points for discussion, but naturally the textbook has a really good comprehensive outlook on the topics that we're discussing. So you definitely want to dive into your textbook and really go through the chapter in detail so you understand the whole concept. But just looking at our slides for this week, slide 1, we basically have our definition of what ethics is. It's a branch of philosophy. It's been around for a very, very long time. Humanity has been asking these questions for a long time as to what is the idea of ethics. More recently, we've been asking, what is ethical leadership? And if you look at slides 3, 4, you hear names like Socrates and Aristotle. That just goes to illustrate that these have been around a long time, and people have been asking these questions. It's been very important to society. This is nothing new at all. We discussed some of the problems with ethics in slide 5 that, I think generally speaking, the whole concept is very subjective. What I think is ethical behavior may be different from the person next to me. And therein lies the problem, that people have different views. In slide 6, we have some more major branches of ethics. Some more. It's more broken down into specifics to help describe what that's all about. I think in slide 7, why leadership ethics matters. I think what we look at in this context is that leaders really have a responsibility. They are in a position of leadership, and with that comes great power and great responsibility. It always amazes me in organizations how, as people rise to power, they begin very ethically sound and doing all the right things, and then quite often I see, or we will all see, that once people get to the top, there seems to be some drifting away from moral principles or ethics. And this too is a struggle. It's a common struggle. It's a dilemma that we face in business. We get into slide 8, 9, and 10 talking about some of the theories of ethics, again, that are described in great detail in the textbook. But these theories are important to study. They're important to learn about. Because as we've probably said in class before, a lot of people lead instinctively and they don't really know exactly who they are, how they lead, why they do what they do, or perhaps they don't understand the theories of ethics and how it all plays in. So having an understanding of this is going to make you a better leader, and will certainly help you to understand life and the people around you as you move forward. Beyond the theories, we have some perspectives of leadership, Heifetz and Burns, in slides 11 and 12. And then in slide 13, we talk about Greenleaf. There's our good friend Greenleaf popping up in servant leadership. And it is interesting to see how some of these theories intertwine and how they overlap into different layers. Transformational leadership, servant leadership, these words are popping up again as we're learning new things. So again, explains why the concept of leadership is very difficult for some folks, for many of us, because it has so many layers and it is so intertwined with other concepts. Slide 14, we talk about the principles of ethical leadership. I look at these principles, these would be, again, a great thing to have up on a bulletin board, just to review, to look at. Am I doing this? Am I respecting others? Do I serve others? Am I showing justice? Am I manifesting honesty? Do I build community? Great things to self-measure and to make sure you're on the right track with what you're doing. I often tell people that they should build in reflection times as leaders. How am I doing? Checking in with myself. Am I keeping on track? Am I doing what I said I would do? Are we making progress? This principles of ethical leadership would be another tool, a valuable tool, in measuring your progress. Slide 15, we have virtues according to Ben Franklin. We're going back a couple hundred years. Boy, I tell you, virtues and ethics and morals were so important in days gone by. We hear about Victorian behavior, the turn of the 1900s, just a different time. The text touches on some ethical scandals, as we see in our slide here in 16. Geez, we all love a scandal, don't we? We even have a television show called Scandal. We love it. Can't get enough of it. You just don't want to be in it. So the idea is, why do they occur? How do they occur? As I said before, people in powerful positions, funny things happen, and scandals do occur, which is, I think, why we need to be very grounded, and we need to make sure that we stay grounded, and that we are firmly planted on the ground. In other words, moving forward, so that we do not get swayed or tossed off target and make some very poor choices. You'll also notice that the text discusses how important values are to this process. Shared values, understanding the values of your followers, and just see how that all aligns with your own values, the values as a corporation as whole, because what our values are certainly is the compass for what we believe is ethically correct. I think as a footnote, I would also add that in private practice, when we're doing leadership consulting and helping other organizations, we'll often, to make it easier, we'll often look at another element of ethics. We'll often do a questionnaire, and we'll find that there are two types of people in an office, in a workplace: those that have an ethic of care and those that have an ethic of justice. We have them do a questionnaire, and no surprise, much like that good old, it keeps coming back to the people skills or the tasks. Isn't it interesting how a lot of these questionnaires, a lot of these principles, how we all conduct ourselves, comes back to people or task, social relationships or task. And we do find that there's an ethic of care that people have, which means that when we do the questionnaire, social relationships and people are very important. That is ethically paramount. The other half of the population looks at ethic of justice, meaning it's about the targets, it's about getting the stuff done, it's about keeping on task. And why you get conflict quite often is because you have these two ethics, one of care, one of justice. Why can't we agree? Why can't we get along? Well, it's no big surprise. So we often see this in the workplace. I think as I said, the other thing that is very challenging is people work their way up into leadership positions where they have more control over what's going on. There's a huge struggle also with ethical behavior, moral conduct versus corporate profit. And I think we see that there's a lot of downfall. The textbook does talk about Enron and other corporations gone awry, where in some cases we are just so focused on the bottom line, shareholder profit, that at what expense do we somehow cut ourselves short in our moral compass when we are making decisions. So I think that my advice for a lot of corporate clients is to, yes, you do have to earn a profit, you have to keep in business, but you have to also keep in mind the balance between ethical behavior, honesty, integrity, in keeping with the profits. It can't be all just about the profits. It's a very short-term mentality. It can get you into trouble. So that's kind of an overview. So good luck with your assignments this week. And if you have any questions, please let your professors know.